Hamnet. Hamnet is a play about the marriage between William of Stratford-upon-Avon and his wife, the free-spirited healer, Agnes. We see the story of their family, William's career in theatre, and their grief when their young son dies. At the start of the play, we meet William teaching Latin to boys at a local farm. He's working there to pay off a debt that his father owes. While there, he and the farmer's daughter, Agnes, fall in love. William lives in Henley Street in Stratford-upon-Avon. His mother, Mary, and his father, John, a glove maker, criticise William for his lack of prospects. John physically intimidates William. So, William spends his time in the attic writing. His teenage sister, Eliza, tells him the rumours she's heard about Agnes. Agnes has a stepmother called Joan. She disapproves of William because his father is a drunkard and a cheat. Joan thinks William wants Agnes's dowry. Although this is not true. When Agnes becomes pregnant, Joan wants Agnes thrown out of the house. But Agnes's brother, Bartholomew, has inherited the house after his father died. He insists that Agnes should stay. William's father, John, strikes a bargain with Bartholomew. If Bartholomew forgives John's debt, William will marry Agnes and take her to live in Stratford. The deal is made. However, it's difficult for William and Agnes to live in the same house with William's parents. William and his father argue, and things soon escalate into a physical fight. After they get married, Agnes tells William that they're going to have 2 children. She also explains that her mother taught her to communicate with the dead, and says that people who have died are only a single wall's distance away. Agnes goes into the forest to give birth to her first child, Susanna. When Susanna is 2 years old, Agnes notices that William has changed and becomes sullen. Agnes is pregnant again and wants William to be back to his old self when their second child arrives. She gets Bartholomew to convince John to expand his glove-making business. If William goes to work for John in London, perhaps the change will do him good. William does go to London, and he is soon free from his oppressive life in Stratford. Agnes has to stay in Stratford with William's mother. When the time comes to give birth, Agnes is shocked to discover that she's having twins. She feels certain that something bad will happen in the future. In London, William is becoming involved in the theatre, but he returns back home to see the birth of twins Judith and Hamnet. Time passes, and soon Judith and Hamnet are 11, and their father has found a new life in London as a successful writer. William performs plays in London with Richard Burbridge and Will Kemp. Burbridge's father owns a playhouse called the Theatre, but the landlord is forcing up the rent for the land it sits on. They decide to move the theatre to Bankside and rename it the Globe. Back in Stratford, Hamnet's twin sister Judith is very ill. Hamnet is trying to find his mother for help. He looks at his grandparents' house, but his grandfather John beats him for going into the glove-making workshop. Hamnet tries the physician's house next. However, the doctor is out, and when his wife hears Judith's symptoms, she tells Hamnet to go home and stay there. When Agnes gets home, she leaps into action. She refuses the physician's help and makes herbal remedies to help Judith get better. William is rehearsing a play when he gets news of Judith's illness. When William gets back to Stratford, he is relieved to see that Judith has recovered. But tragically, Hamnet has fallen ill and died. Agnes and William are grief-stricken. They struggle to communicate with each other. After Hamnet's funeral, William goes back to London. In time, William returns to Stratford. He brings gifts for his family. One of them is the honour of a coat of arms for his father. John is moved by this. William is wealthy now. He buys a new house for the family in Stratford-upon-Avon, but still spends a lot of time in London. One day, Joan tells Agnes that William is staging a new play in London. The play is called Hamlet. Agnes is furious that William has used their son's name like that. She rushes to London with her brother Bartholomew. Agnes goes to the Globe and watches Hamlet from the audience. She suddenly realises that William has grieved for Hamnet in his own way. He has brought their son back to life on the stage.